Welcome back, coin collectors, rare currency enthusiasts, and all those who love to discover hidden treasures in plain sight, to another thrilling and knowledge-packed episode where we uncover the fascinating secrets behind ordinary-looking coins that could be worth a small fortune. And today we are diving deep into the astonishing world of the 1996 AD Washington quarter, a coin that at first glance might seem like just another piece of loose change rattling in your pocket or lying at the bottom of your old drawer, but upon closer inspection and with a keen eye for numismatic anomalies, reveals itself to be a remarkably rare and potentially highly valuable piece worth up to $242 due to a wide range of mint errors, striking mistakes, die varieties, and other irregularities that elevate its worth far beyond its face value of just 25 cents, and it is precisely this coin, the 1996 AD quarter from the Denver Mint, that has captured the attention of collectors, error coin hunters, and value chasers across the United States and around the globe, as we unpack the myriad of fascinating elements that contribute to the immense value of this particular coin, starting with the context of its mintage, where over 906 million quarters were struck at the Denver Mint in 1996, which on its surface might suggest high supply and therefore minimal value, but as any experienced collector knows, it is within these mass mintages that rare error coins can emerge unnoticed and undervalued for decades, only to be rediscovered and reassessed under the bright light of numismatic scrutiny, and such is the case with several 1996 AD quarters that have surfaced with astonishing errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks, all of which play a significant role in the coin's potential market value, beginning with the double die obverse error, one of the most sought-after types of errors among coin collectors, where a misalignment during the hubbing process causes the design elements, such as the motto "In God We Trust," the word liberty, or the date itself, to appear twice or partially overlapping, resulting in a ghostly shadowed effect that is highly prized in the numismatic community and can significantly increase a coin's value, especially when the doubling is prominent and easily visible without magnification. And this particular error has been documented in a select number of 1996 AD quarters, with some examples commanding prices far exceeding the average market rate, and when combined with a strong strike and lustrous surface, the value can easily rise to $242 or more. And then we have the fascinating occurrence of off-center strikes, a type of mint error that results when the planchette, the blank piece of metal intended to become a coin, is not properly aligned within the press, leading to a final product that has portions of the design missing or unevenly distributed, and in some rare 1996 AD quarters, this off-center strike is extreme enough to remove key elements of the design, making the coin not only visually unique but numismatically rare, and the more dramatic the off-center error, especially when the date is still visible, the more desirable the coin becomes to collectors who seek examples of mint mistakes that showcase the unpredictable nature of the minting process. And speaking of unpredictability, we must also discuss broad strikes, an error that occurs when the coin is struck without the collar that normally holds the metal in place, resulting in a coin that appears stretched or expanded beyond its normal diameter, with a smooth, sometimes distorted rim, and such broad-struck 1996 AD quarters can carry significant premiums depending on the degree of expansion and the clarity of the strike, often crossing the $200 mark when found in uncirculated condition. And then there are coins with clipped planchets, a dramatic error caused when the blank metal sheets used for minting are misfed into the cutting machinery, causing crescent-shaped or straight-edged clips to occur, and when a 1996 AD quarter displays such a clip, especially if it is large or intersects with key design features like Washington's portrait or the eagle on the reverse, it becomes a major point of interest for collectors who value the rarity and striking appearance of such minting accidents. And another major contributor to this quarter's value are die cracks, which are fine or sometimes bold raised lines that appear on the surface of the coin as a result of aging or damaged dies, and these cracks can sometimes form dramatic patterns such as a lightning bolt across the portrait, a spike on Washington's head, or even cracks that resemble extra letters or design elements, leading to nicknames and increased demand in collector circles. And it's not just die cracks that enhance value, there are also retained cut errors, where a portion of the die face breaks and partially detaches, leaving a noticeable raised blob of metal on the coin's surface, usually near the rim or design edges, which again adds a premium due to the rarity and visual intrigue such features bring. And among the most intriguing discoveries with the 1996 AD quarters is the presence of rotated dies, a type of error where the obverse and reverse designs do not align correctly when flipped, and while minor rotations are relatively common, Those that are more extreme, say 90 degrees or even 180 degrees, are considered major errors and can push the coin's value into the $200 plus range, especially when preserved in high grade, and all these errors and minting mistakes wouldn't be as valuable without consideration of the coin's condition or grade, as those preserved in mint state, particularly MS64 and above, with brilliant luster, minimal contact marks, and strong eye appeal, are worth considerably more than worn circulated examples, and as third-party grading companies like PCGS or NGC assign numerical grades to these coins, it provides buyers and sellers alike with confidence regarding authenticity and quality, thus further influencing value, and some 1996 AD quarters with major errors in MS65 condition have sold for over $240 at auctions and private sales, especially when the coin includes multiple errors, for example, a double die that is also off-center, or a clipped planchette with a visible die crack, effectively making the coin a multi-error specimen and an irresistible prize for any serious collector. And then we must consider the historical and aesthetic significance of the 1996 AD quarter, struck in the years preceding the launch of the State Quarters program, making it one of the last few standard Washington quarters before the radical change in design that began in 1999, and coins from transitional periods often carry additional numismatic interest, especially when they contain errors, because they represent the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another in U.S. coinage history. And when combined with the increasing popularity of error coins in mainstream culture, thanks in part to social media, YouTube videos, and coin roll hunting trends, the demand for coins like the 1996 AD quarter with striking errors has only grown, and this growing demand leads to more competition in auctions, increased bidding activity, and greater final sale prices, all of which serve to validate and reinforce the $242 valuation figure for the best examples of this coin, especially those that have been professionally attributed and encapsulated by grading services. And it's not just seasoned collectors who are driving this trend. Novices, casual hobbyists, and even curious individuals who stumble across such a coin in change are increasingly participating in the coin collecting community, fueling both interest and value. And in the case of the 1996 AD quarter, stories of ordinary people finding one in a coin jar or a bankroll and then selling it for hundreds of dollars adds to the coin's mystique and desirability, reinforcing the notion that valuable treasure can truly be hiding in plain sight. And so we continue to see a rise in market activity around this coin, with dealers setting aside any 1996 AD quarters they come across for closer inspection, and with die variety specialists cataloging and attributing new errors. There remains the exciting possibility that even more rare types or undiscovered variants of the 1996 AD quarter are out there waiting to be found, such as coins struck on foreign planchets, wrong metal errors, or mismatched dies, each of which can exponentially increase the coin's value. And as with all numismatic treasures, provenance plays a role, meaning coins with documented auction history or well-known previous owners can fetch even higher premiums, and when combined with the increasing scarcity of high-grade error examples in circulation, the market trajectory for this coin continues to climb, making now an ideal time for both buyers and sellers to pay attention to the 1996 AD quarter, whether they are searching through old change, scouring estate sales, or browsing online auctions, because each discovery contributes to the ever-growing story of this remarkable coin. Next, 1989 AD quarter dollar. Today we are about to dive into a coin that might be sitting unnoticed in your change jar, car cup holder, or dresser drawer, yet it holds the potential to astonish you with its rarity, uniqueness, and collectability. The incredible 1989 AD Washington quarter, a coin minted in Denver that, due to a fascinating combination of minting errors, die anomalies, striking mistakes, and historical context, has been known to command a price tag of up to $230 or more among seasoned collectors and coin hunters who recognize the extraordinary value hidden in mint defects and numismatic oddities, because while the face value is just 25 cents, the worth of this coin skyrockets the moment a rare error is discovered, and with the sheer number of variations and minting mishaps possible in a production run of over 896 million coins, the potential for valuable finds in this year and mint mark combination is enormous, starting with one of the most popular and well-documented errors known to collectors. The double die, an error that results when the die used to strike the coin is itself improperly hubbed, leading to design elements such as Liberty Indiana God We Trust, or the date appearing to have a doubled or ghosted image, and such doubled dies are especially valuable when the doubling is strong and clear enough to be seen without magnification, and while not all double dies are created equal, those found on the 1989 D quarter that show bold doubling on key inscriptions or the profile of George Washington are particularly desirable, especially when they are accompanied by other markers such as strong die polish lines or uncirculated mint luster. And then we have the off-center strike errors, another type of mistake that happens when the blank planchette is not properly seated in the coin press, resulting in a final coin that has part of its design missing, skewed, or incomplete. And in the most dramatic cases where the strike is off by 15% or more but still shows a full readable date and mint mark, collectors are willing to pay big premiums, sometimes reaching the $230 mark or higher for well-preserved examples. And then there's the fascinating case of clipped planchette errors, where a portion of the coin's metal is missing due to a malfunction during the cutting of the blanks, resulting in quarter coins that look like they've had a small bite taken out of them. And these clips can be straight, curved, or ragged depending on how the error occurred and when. These clipped planchets are found on a 1989 D quarter in combination with other striking anomalies. They become even more valuable due to their rarity and visual appeal. And let's not forget about broad-struck quarters, which are created when the coin is struck outside the confines of the retaining collar, causing the design to expand outward and the rim to appear abnormally flat or absent, creating a unique and often highly collectible look that can drastically enhance the coin's value, especially when the coin remains in uncirculated condition and die cracks. Another common but desirable error can also increase the value of a 1989 D quarter substantially, particularly when the cracks form unusual shapes or patterns such as those that resemble lightning bolts, halos around Washington's head, or extra features on the eagle on the reverse, and die breaks that become retained cuds, where a piece of the die actually chips away and leaves a raised blob on the surface of the coin, are also known to collectors as dramatic minting flaws that make a coin significantly more appealing and valuable, especially when located in high-visibility areas of the design. And what makes the 1989 D quarter particularly exciting is the possibility of finding multiple errors on a single coin, such as a quarter that is both off-center and displays a double die, or one that is broad-struck with a retained cud. And coins like these are often referred to as compound error coins, and they command a substantial premium on the market because they combine several unusual characteristics into one rare specimen. And the sheer minted volume from the Denver Mint in 1989 also opens the door to variations in die stages, die wear, and overuse that can lead to additional minor anomalies, such as die deterioration doubling, machine doubling, and die clashes, all of which, while not always increasing the coin's value dramatically on their own, can contribute to the overall uniqueness of a coin. And when paired with a more dramatic error, they help increase interest and value among collectors who are constantly searching for standout pieces for their collections. And another aspect that contributes to the value of the 1989 D quarter is its grade or condition, as coins graded in mint state by reputable grading companies such as PCGS or NGC consistently sell for higher amounts. And when an error coin is found in MS63, MS64, MS65 or even higher grades, it becomes not just a collectible oddity, but a showpiece. And error coins in high grade often fetch multiples of their already impressive error premium, which is how a 1989 D quarter with a significant error can reach the $230 range or more. And then there are transitional and wrong planchette errors, where a coin is struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination or even another country's coin. And while these are rare, there are documented instances of US quarters being struck on nickel, penny, or even foreign planchets. And if a 1989 D quarter with such a composition error is discovered, it could push the value far beyond $230, depending on the metal content, weight, and degree of detail retained in the strike. And rotated die errors, where the obverse and reverse do not line up properly when flipped, can also be found on quarters from this era. And when the rotation is substantial, say 90 degrees or 180 degrees, collectors prize them for their visual curiosity and rarity. And these coins too can command premium prices on the open market or in auctions. And in addition to the errors themselves, the 1989 D quarter also has appeal due to its position in the historical timeline of US coinage, coming just a decade before the introduction of the popular 50-state quarters program, and as such, it represents one of the last years of the traditional eagle reverse design. A fact that adds a degree of nostalgia and historical interest for those who collect based on design evolution and historical context. And As with all valuable coins, provenance and market demand play a role, so if a coin has been previously sold at a major auction, or featured in a coin collecting publication, or if it has been slabbed and certified by a major grading service with an identified error type and grade, that coin is likely to fetch a higher price than a raw example with no documentation, and in the case of the 1989 D quarter, the $230 valuation applies primarily to coins that feature bold, dramatic, well-preserved errors, particularly those that are certified, visually striking, and scarce within the general mintage population. And while not every 1989 D quarter is going to be worth that much, the possibility of finding one that is means that coin roll hunters, casual change sorters, estate sale shoppers, and flea market treasure hunters continue to examine their quarters carefully, because this year and mint mark combination has already produced coins that prove valuable surprises are still out there. And as the popularity of coin collecting continues to grow thanks to online communities, YouTube videos, social media posts, and viral stories of amazing finds, coins like the 1989 D quarter are increasingly getting the attention they deserve, leading to more discoveries, more interest, and inevitably more demand, which keeps pushing prices higher and ensures that these coins remain sought after by those who understand the numismatic market and the enduring value of mint-made mistakes. And while some collectors specialize in high-grade coins and others in error varieties, the intersection of both makes coins like the 1989 D quarter with visible and dramatic errors in excellent condition particularly hot commodities, often attracting the attention of both camps and driving bidding wars in online auctions or local coin shows. And as more people become aware of the value that can be hidden in pocket change, the 1989 D quarter stands as a prime example of how a simple error, a misplaced strike, a broken die, a misaligned planchette, can transform an everyday coin into a $230 collectible, a piece of history, a conversation starter, and a prized addition to any collection. So whether you're a seasoned collector with years of experience or someone who just found an unusual-looking coin in their wallet, the lesson is clear: always check your change, learn to recognize the signs of mint errors. Last 1986 quarter dollar. Today's exciting episode is going to uncover the shocking truth behind the 1986 Washington quarter, a seemingly ordinary 25-cent piece that, due to an extraordinary collection of minting mistakes, striking anomalies, and die-related issues, has managed to skyrocket in collector value all the way up to $200 or even more in some private sales and auction listings, proving once again that what might look like just another quarter to the untrained eye can in fact be a highly sought-after numismatic gem with an incredible story to tell. And we're going to break down everything that makes the 1986 quarter so valuable, from the specific types of errors that have been discovered on these coins, to the possibilities that still exist for even rarer versions yet to be found, as well as the conditions and grading factors that push these pieces over the $200 mark. So get ready to learn everything you need to know about this fascinating and underrated coin, beginning with a quick overview of its origin. The 1986 quarter was minted in Philadelphia, as indicated by the P mint mark placed on the obverse side of the coin beneath the motto "In God We Trust," and in that year the Philadelphia Mint produced a staggering total of approximately 551,199,000 quarters, a number so high that at first glance it may seem like this coin would have little to no collectible value due to its abundance, but that high mintage is exactly what creates opportunities for mint errors to sneak through the system. And when you have hundreds of millions of coins being produced, the chance for mechanical malfunctions, die misalignments, planchette problems, and striking irregularities increases significantly, which is exactly what makes the 1986 quarter so interesting for collectors who specialize in mint errors, starting with one of the most frequently seen but still highly prized mistakes, double dies, which occur during the hubbing process when the coin die receives more than one impression from the hub in a misaligned position, leading to a doubling of design elements that can be seen with the naked eye or under magnification. And when it comes to the 1986 quarter, there have been confirmed reports of double die obverses where letters such as Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date 1986 appear with slight but noticeable doubling, giving them a ghosted or shadowed appearance that collectors love to find, and stronger examples of this doubling that are easily visible without a microscope often command prices far beyond the $200 range, especially when found in uncirculated condition. And then we move into one of the more dramatic and visually impressive error types, off-center strikes, which happen when the blank planchette is not correctly aligned within the coining press, leading to a final coin where part of the design is cut off or missing. and off-center 1986p quarters with 10 to 20% off-center strikes, especially those that still show a full readable date and mint mark, are considered very collectible and desirable, and the further off-center the strike while still maintaining visible key features, the higher the value, with some examples reaching and exceeding the $200 price point. And then we have broad struck errors, which result when the coin is struck outside the retaining collar that normally holds the planchette in place during minting, causing the metal to expand outward in a way that flattens or distorts the rim and gives the coin a slightly oversized and odd appearance. And broad-struck 1986p quarters with clear details and full legends are also known to reach or surpass the $200 range, particularly when the coin is free of heavy wear and preserved in higher mint state grades. And next on our list of rare and desirable errors is the clipped planchette error, where a portion of the coin appears to have a crescent-shaped or straight-edged piece missing from its surface, usually caused when the metal strip from which the blanks are cut is misfed into the blanking press, resulting in overlapping punches or incomplete circles. And 1986p quarters with large visible clips, especially if the clip intersects or affects important elements like Washington's portrait, the rim inscriptions, or the eagle on the reverse, are especially valuable and fascinating to collectors who love unusual-looking error coins. And then we have die cracks, a common but often underappreciated error that happens when a coin die begins to develop fractures or break down due to excessive use, leading to raised lines or raised blobs of metal on the struck coins in the areas corresponding to the cracks in the die, and die cracks on the 1986p quarter that form dramatic or unusual shapes, such as lightning bolt patterns, crowns, or what some collectors call spiked heads effects, can make the coin far more desirable. And if those cracks are part of a progressive die failure that results in a cud or a retained cud, where a portion of the die face breaks off and leaves a large raised area on the coin, then the value can skyrocket even further, particularly if the cut affects major features or creates a dramatic visual appearance. And then we need to discuss die clashes, another highly collectible error that occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette between them, resulting in the design of one die being imprinted in reverse onto the other, which in turn produces coins where parts of the reverse design show faintly on the obverse or vice versa. And die clash errors on 1986p quarters have been reported where elements of the eagle's wings or tail feathers appear behind Washington's head or beneath the date, and when these errors are bold and clear, they can easily push the value into the $200 range or beyond, especially if accompanied by other die deterioration features like heavy Polish lines, which are caused when the mint attempts to remove clash marks or other imperfections from the die, sometimes resulting in streaks or hairline abrasions on the coins themselves that can be collectible in their own right. And let's not forget rotated die errors, which happen when the obverse and reverse dies are not properly aligned, leading to coins that do not show a proper 180-degree flip between heads and tails, and the more extreme the rotation, say 90 or even a full 180 degrees, the more dramatic the error and the higher the value. And rotated die errors are not super common for the 1986p quarter, but they do exist, and when found in good condition they are absolutely worth holding onto or having graded. And we must also consider coins struck on the wrong planchette, which are incredibly rare but extremely valuable, where a quarter is mistakenly struck on a blank intended for another denomination, such as a nickel or even a foreign coin, resulting in wrong size, weight, or coloration, and any 1986p quarter found to weigh significantly less or more than the standard 5.67 grams should be weighed carefully and possibly examined by a professional, because these wrong planchette errors are some of the most valuable of all and can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and condition. And speaking of condition, the grade of a coin plays an enormous role in its final value, with mint state examples of the 1986p quarter that also feature one or more dramatic errors being especially prized by collectors and dealers alike, and coins that grade MS63 or higher with bold errors are known to sell in the $200 plus range, especially when certified by major grading services like PCGS or NGC, which not only confirm the authenticity of the error but also encapsulate the coin in a protective holder with a clear label describing the error type and the numerical grade. And in today's collecting world where authenticity and grading matter more than ever, having an error coin certified by a top-tier grading company can make all the difference in its market value. And the story of the 1986 P quarter doesn't stop with the errors alone, because this coin also represents a unique period in American minting history, occurring before the advent of the 50-state quarters program and still featuring the traditional heraldic eagle reverse, making it part of the classic Washington quarter design series that many collectors still cherish for its symmetry, simplicity, and historical continuity. And as coins from this era become older and more worn in circulation, the supply of high-quality error examples decreases, which only increases the value of those few well-preserved specimens that still exist. And as more collectors enter the hobby, driven by viral videos, online groups,